okay, this is my chance to show I'm not full of shit. Am I gonna allow everything I've ever said and my last name and my duty to God and everything to go down the pan, or am I gonna just man up and fucking win?
Right. You have too much to get done to be talking about happiness. Most of you men out here have so much to get done before you talk about happiness.
Life is extremely difficult as a man. It's very fucking hard. There is no way I can tell you to win unless you're a top tier man. I can't sit here and give you a cheat code that allows you to stay a loser and win. I can only tell you what I've done. I became extremely wealthy. I became extremely capable. I became extremely smart. I developed a vast network of individuals that nobody wants to mess with. And I set up a life that makes me difficult to damage. That's what I did. You're saying, how can I comply, stay weak and stay stupid and be safe from tyranny? And I say to you, you can't do that. That's why I teach the tenets I teach. And that's also why I think they find me so threatening, because I'm teaching people to do exactly that. I say, listen, there's no strength of mind or strength of opinion without strength of body. First thing you need to do is go train. Don't care what you think. Don't care what you think. Too small. First thing you need to do is go train. This is number one.
You have to show up every day and work, regardless of how you feel. I'm gonna say something very logical to you people at home. And if you're stupid, you're not gonna understand it. But if you're smart, it's not that difficult a concept. There is no light without dark. 5,000 years ago, the Chinese drew yin and yang for a reason. They are linked, they go together. There is no such thing as a successful person without a failure. Without the failures, there's no success. You need both. For there to be winners, there has to be losers. Therefore, if God is going to give you the chance to become a successful person, He has to make it difficult. He has to lay out a gauntlet, because within that gauntlet, some people will quit and they can go become losers, which allow the people who do not quit to be winners. I think a lot of people think that my life is just running around in supercars, sleeping with girls and smoking cigars. And anyone who's around me long enough actually says, wow, Andrew, all you do is work. Of course all I do is work. I have $1 billion empire. The Matrix is trying to destroy my life. I have endless females to maintain, children to see. My entire life is work. I have to stay in prime physical condition, ready to destroy my enemies. My entire life is work. So when people want to quit, they want to give up, everybody has an excuse, nobody has any time, they will do it next week, they're a bit tired, they don't understand. That's all loser talk. You're not allowed to do that. That is part of the gauntlet. That is the off-ramp towards loserdom. You're on the highway, you're driving. There's exits all along the way to Loserville, Loser Town. When you're tired, when you don't feel like working, when you don't have enough time, when it's difficult, you can get off the highway anytime you want, but if you stay on the highway, you will end up a winner. When I hear people say, oh, it's hard, or I don't have time, etc., all you're doing is telling me you're a loser. Every single winner feels the same as you do. The difference is they do not quit. They do not give up. They do not make excuses. They stay on the highway. It's amazing what you can achieve if you never give up. My saying, unmatched perspicacity and sheer indefatigability. That point is important. Sheer indefatigability. The inability to become fatigued. If you never quit, if you never give up, if you never give in, you're gonna get exactly what you wanted. All you had to do is not be a fucking coward, and you still failed. I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't care about excuses. God doesn't care about excuses. And the winners who went through the exact same things you're going through, who didn't quit, don't care about excuses. There are winners and losers in the world. You are either a winner who dedicates himself, never gives up, continues to learn, does everything he knows he needs to do regardless of how he feels, or you're a loser who makes excuses and you stay invisible for the rest of human time. Make a choice.
This is what I say to people. Now, I'm not stupid. I understand like PTSD is real. I understand mental health is real. I'm not saying that, but I say if you're an 18-year-old boy or 18-year-old man and your life is pretty much okay, bacteria didn't steal your eyesight, which could have happened. You never had a car crash and lost both of your legs, which could have happened. You're actually very fortunate. And you wake up and you say, I'm depressed. I think you're an idiot. I don't think you're depressed. I think you've been psyoped. I think you feel a little bit of depression and you can fix that by changing your life. I think if you became rich and strong and smart and successful and you worked hard and you dedicated yourself and you were motivated and you tried your very, very best to become excellent, you probably wouldn't feel depressed anymore, which means it's not a disease, is it? So why would you, well, the only reason you're even saying you have depression is because you believe in it.
So you're arguing for cause and effect. You're saying if you live a certain way, you're going to feel a certain way.
Absolutely, and I also would argue that I think we've evolutionarily, even though I do believe in God, I think that we've designed ourselves and the human has grown into a way where if you feel depressed or sad, I think that's a fantastic trigger or a warning signal to do something. If you were to say to me, Andrew, you have to complete this monumental task. You have to conquer the world. I would say, okay, but I need a emotional motivation to do that. I need to be unhappy having not completed the task. I need to be uncomfortable, right? If you're uncomfortable being out of shape, you'll get in shape. If you're happy being out of shape, then you're just gonna stay out of shape, right? So if you feel a degree of uncomfortableness inside of your mind, I think it's just your mind telling you that something about your life needs to change.
Yes.
You need to get up and change something. Guys would say to me, I'm depressed because I'm fat and I have no girlfriend. And I'd say, no, you have no girlfriend and you're fat and that's why you're depressed. If you go change those two things, you'd probably be surprised that your disease goes away. I had another guy say he was gonna kill himself. I said, listen, it's back when I used to reply to my emails when I was smaller. I said, make me a promise, get a six-pack first.
Of beer?
I said, get a six-pack first, get in fantastic shape, and then do whatever you want. Didn't want to kill himself once he was in fantastic shape.
So he did it?
Yeah. I have the before and after, I put him on Twitter. Kind of interesting that, isn't it? So how are we going to say we have this disease, which is cause and effect? How are we going to say we have this disease where there's something wrong with you as a man, you have a disease because your life sucks? I mean, I don't think that's true. I think that your life just sucks and you should change it. You know, it's kind of interesting. No one's emotionless, and I certainly feel things. And I'm going to come up with a theory, which you're going to call complete garbage, because I am not qualified. But this is my theory.
Yeah, go for it.
I believe that emotional energy is a lot like a bucket of water. Mm-hmm. You have all this emotional energy, right? You have a bucket of water. And then you have a bunch of different holes you can pour it down. So I believe if you wake up one day and you feel particularly depressed, you don't feel depressed. You just have a lot of emotional energy that day. Some days you don't have that much emotional energy and life's pretty calm. But some days you wake up and you have this big bucket of water. And the superpower is deciding which emotion you're gonna put it in. Not to not feel the energy, but to decide which emotion you're gonna put it in. And I think that's my superpower. I don't have the superpower of being able to stop myself feeling things.
Yeah.
I have the superpower of being able to choose how I use that energy and what I decide to feel. And then if you want to be hyper successful as a person, you have to be very careful to avoid the happy hole. Because happy is what everyone thinks they would choose. If you had this emotional energy and could choose any emotion, you'd choose happy. But if you choose happy, you don't get much done.
What do you choose?
I choose, if I had to choose how I wanted to feel all the time, I would choose proud. And proud means you have to work. Proud means you have to do things, you have to achieve things. If you want to be proud and be realistic, you have to do fantastic things. So my default favorite emotion is proud.
Right.
That's how I'm happiest when I feel proud about anything.
Well, and the organism releases dopamine in the brain when we do hard work.
Which is
and
why I have
accomplish
to
tasks.
win. I have to win all the time.
Yeah.
I love proud.
To feel good.
To feel good. Yeah. I don't like happy. If I feel happy, diddish happiness like a child or like a females usually default to happy. They don't care how they get there, they just want to get there.
Right.
They just want to feel happy.
Right.
I avoid the happy hole because I think people who are desperate to only feel happy are the ones who are addicts, you know, gambling addicts, drug addicts, drink too much, do dumb shit. It's all temporary, no delayed gratification. That's how you destroy your life, choosing the happy hole. So we were talking earlier about jail and how when I felt particularly bad, I'd wake up with a whole bunch of emotional energy. It's unchanneled, it's a bit wild, so I guess that can be perceived as sad or depressed. You're out of your routine. So I would sit and go, okay, I have all this emotional energy today, where am I gonna put it? And I'd put it in a place where perhaps on that day I might feel happy, or perhaps I'd choose something else, but I would try my very best to take all the energy and put it into a place where feeling that emotion was the most competitive emotion, or was the perfect emotion for me to be as competitive as possible in that particular scenario.
But no, you're supposed to wake up and look in the mirror and say, this is my name, this is who I am, I'm gonna be the best version of myself, and everybody's gonna respect me, and I'm gonna force them to, because that's the way the world works. Respect can be squeezed out of people. They don't have to like you. You can't squeeze someone liking you.
You can't grab space-time from the universe and force everybody to like you, but you can force everybody to respect you, whether they want to or not. All of my haters respect me. They sit there, this guy's so bad, so bad, so bad, but they can't say I'm unsuccessful. They can't say I'm not intelligent. They can't say I'm not rich. I'm still worthy of all their time and attention. They've dedicated their lives to me, so I've forced them to respect me. If I was a nobody, then they wouldn't be reporting on this garbage case of mine. So you can force respect from people, and
I think God wants me to be the best possible version of myself. I think that God dislikes people who are lazy. I said this to somebody once and he got very offended. I said, God doesn't like lazy people. God has created you and he wants to see the absolute best you can be. I think that if you don't take care of yourself, God has no interest in taking care of you. If you have a Ferrari on the drive and you don't take care of it, who's going to take care of it? Nobody. I think that taking care of yourself and being the best possible version of yourself you can be is how you please God. I think that's one of the best ways to praise him, is to wake up every day and say, I need to be the strongest, smartest, fastest, most fearsome, most stoic, most capable man I can possibly be. This is how I please God. So I think your duty to God is also these things, and that's another massive source of strength that I get. When I'm alone in a jail cell, I understand that God is still watching, and God would be unhappy if I couldn't handle it. I don't think, maybe we can talk about God, or we can also talk just about basic cosmic balance. I don't believe you can become the most famous man on the planet, calling yourself the top G, without the universe testing you if you're really about it. I don't think you're going to get to a point where the universe, whatever you want to call it, is going to say, is he really the top G? Yeah. And you're going to have to prove it. If you walk through life and say, I'm made of iron, I'm Mr. Tough Guy, sooner or later someone's going to check you and find out if you are or not. Right. So when I was doing this for a very long time, I wasn't ignorant to the fact that something's going to come along and see if I am who I am. So when I'm sitting in a jail cell by myself with cockroaches all over the floor, I'm like, okay, this is my chance to show I'm not full of shit. Right. Was I full of shit? No, I wasn't. Am I going to allow everything I've ever said and my last name and my duty to God and everything to go down the pan, or am I going to just man up and fucking win? Right. Because life's tough. Life's hard. And I think that the best thing you can possibly do as a man is prepare for the endless difficulty that's going to come your way. There's no way out as a man. You're either going to have a very difficult life to become somebody important, or you're going to suffer the difficulty of being invisible. What do you want to do? You want to be invisible and just hide and work in Starbucks and never have a girlfriend who truly loves you and nobody care if you live or die? Or do you want to go out there and be top G and be the most famous man in the world and have government agencies trying to lock you up for no reason, putting you in a dungeon? You have to make a choice. It's going to be difficult either way. So I think if you have a son and you're not preparing him for absolute difficulty, you're doing him a disservice. I think that's what has to happen as a man. And I've said this many times before, but I'm going to say it again. I don't think many people understand exactly how competitive the masculine world is. Men are constantly in competition with each other. We always have been. We used to go to war and fight and kill each other. I guess in some places we still do. Maybe that's calmed down a little bit. But in the masculine world of today, everybody is constantly competing for everything. The car that you want, other people want. The woman you want, other people want. The house you want, other people want. You're competing to have all of it. And how do you do that? You do that through status and money and influence and power. It's war. And I've decided that I can't stop bad things from happening to me. So instead, I'm going to enjoy bad things happening to me. And I'm going to build a mindset that makes me fearsome enough to succeed regardless of how stacked the odds are against me.
Yeah. And I appreciate your mindset, and it's well thought out, and it's useful to you. And so I'm just pushing up against the places where I think there might be contradictions.
I like to hear it. Yeah. I like to hear it, but like I said right now, I'm not a coward. And I want to make this very clear. I'm not a coward. I don't care if I don't sleep again for the rest of my life. I refuse to take any fucking pill, and I refuse to sit and have my mind altered by anything I do not control. I don't care if I have nightmares for the rest of human time. Right. As long as I'm in charge of my mind, I'm in charge of my life. If God decides that I don't need nightmares anymore, I'll fathom out how to stop it. If God decides I need to wake up in the middle of the night in a sweat, fearful or afraid they're coming to get me, then that's God's plan for me, and that's what I'm going to deal with. I'm not a coward. I'm not afraid of any of these things. I'm not afraid of feeling bad. I'm not afraid of anxiety. I'm not afraid of panic. This is one of the things I think a lot of men out there struggle with, is they're so worried and afraid of bad feelings. And to me, that's just showing that you've had an easy life. Like, there's real people out here who are trying to kill you. There's people out here who put a knife in your neck. You're scared of what? Feeling sad? Who cares? Like, there's real problems. What are you worried about feeling sad for? Who gives a shit? I could feel sad for the rest of my life, and I guarantee, one, nobody would know, and two, I would be monumentally successful regardless. So why are we even talking about it? I have no fear for a negative feeling. I have fear for me not being able to provide for my children. I have fear for people who rely on me not being provided for and cared for. But I don't have a single, I don't wake up and go, I'm worried if I might feel sad today. Who cares? Who cares? I can be happy or sad on the same day. Nobody notices and the same things get done. The exact same amount of work gets done. Nothing changes.
You have too much to get done to be talking about happiness. Most of you men out here have so much to get done before you talk about happiness.